All right. Hey, welcome back to the Go for CEO channel. I am so glad that you stopped by. And thank you, Go for CEO community, for being just a loyal community that starts to subscribe, starts to like these interviews and episodes. And guess what? I mean, when we bring on CEOs, founders, entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs, it's all about you, really bringing you the valuable info and insight of how to build a business and what does this business owner think, like how are they managing their day, what are they doing with their scaling, how are they marketing their business, all that good stuff. So over the last 5 or 6 interviews, you've seen me work with people from Clubhouse, this incredible new app that we've created really cool relationships. Well, this guy is no different, because Joe Nicasio is a beast on Clubhouse. He's been doing some great things to really help people all around the world. And in fact, today he's in Hawaii, and because of Zoom and because of technology, we're excited to have him on. So thank you, Joe, from Joe Nicasio Business Consulting. Thanks so much for coming out to the Go for CEO channel. How are you?
Hey, I'm too blessed to be stressed. I'm too grateful to be hateful, and I'm too anointed to be disappointed.
I love it. I love it. Well, hey, and this is just a little bit of a taste, Go for CEO community. So stay tuned and let's rock and roll with this interview. So Joe, a lot of the first things that we ask our interviewees is, man, how did you think about this business? What was something that was in your mind? Where'd you, maybe 6 months before you started your business, what were you doing and how did it come up? So go
Oh,
ahead
you
and
want
take
the
it away.
background story? I started out as a child, and then I became an electrical engineer. Before that, I was a sparkle in my parents' eyes. But look, I have an electrical engineering background. From the time I was a kid, I played with electronics, analog, digital, and I made a lot of money. I made over $1 million in technology. And then through a confluence of my mistakes and the world changing and a little bit of dishonesty and blah, 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 I crashed and burned really hard. And I lost everything in a really painful and humiliating way. And a couple things happened. Number one is I did seek therapy. And number two is I ended up with a mentor, a guy named Jay Abraham. And this is after I lost everything. When I started my business in 1999, my net worth was minus $250,000. So for those people that say it takes money to make money, I say, well, if I did it at minus 250, what's your excuse? So it doesn't take money to make money. It takes customers. And when you realize that you can help somebody improve their conditions, you can make money for it. So, I went to a Jay Abraham seminar and I learned all this stuff about marketing. I remember distinctly that I had this checklist of the top 10 marketing mistakes almost every business makes. And I was at a trade show and I was going by booth, and it's like every single one of the businesses were making like at least 7 or 8 out of the 10 mistakes. And if you stop making those mistakes and turn it around, they become marketing multipliers, business multipliers. And this midlife crisis of failure, some light bulb went off in my head and said, this midlife crisis turned into a midlife calling. And I realized, wow, all these people, if they only knew what I know, I could help them turn around their businesses. And so I got to spend 7 years learning from Jay Abraham. I went to a paid seminar after that. They said, you want to come to the next seminar? And I said, I'm still trying to pay for the first one. They said, we know, can you barter? And I said, what could I do? And they said, we need transcription. And they sent me boxes and boxes of audio cassettes of 30 years of Jay Abraham marketing think tanks. And I listened to these with a yellow pad, word for word, transcribed them, typed them up and sent them into Jay's office. And all these transcriptions ended up in the Jay Abraham Marketing Encyclopedia. I literally gained encyclopedic knowledge of marketing. And so that midlife crisis turned into a midlife calling, and recognizing that 9 out of 10 people don't have a clue about some of these, even big companies are making mistakes. And when you realize that if you stop making these mistakes and turn it around, your business can go to a whole other level.
That's incredible. Well, look, one of the things that I really got out of that was that even though you crashed and burned, you had some success going on, you crashed and burned, but then you really self-evaluated, how do you invest back into yourself? So there we go. Joe Nicasio Business Consulting. So was that the start of that barter interaction, or how did you get to then say, like, all right, well, look, I'm trading this barter, right, skill set for what you did, and then start to acquire your first client?
Yeah, so I was learning all this stuff, and one of the things that Jay has is he has a protege mentor program, and I was mentored by Jay Abraham. I became a Jay Abraham protege, and so I started just coaching. I went out and consulting. I found a hair salon that, I knew the owner, and I had just documented. One of the 30 things that I documented for Jay was referral systems, and I documented 93 unique referral systems from different industries, different businesses. And I said, let's create a referral system for your salon. And she paid me like $500. And I combined like 6 referral programs into one amazing program. Like we called it the Ultimate Salon Referral System. And she gets about 3 or, right away, we taught the stylists how to use it. And we got the clients involved. And we turned all of the clients getting their hair cut and dyed and permed. We turned all of those clients into like a sales force. And she started getting to 300 to 400 new clients a year just through referrals with no advertising cost. And so that was a success story. And I kind of struggled along, getting my own clients one at a time. And it's like, people were like, why should I listen to you? Like, how much money are you making? And I was, like I said, it was pretty painful. And I met a guy named Jim Ackerman out of Salt Lake City, and he had a program called the Principal Centered, he still has it, the Principal Centered Marketing Coaching Program. And he was marketing and filling up his practice. He was coaching Jay Abraham principles, but at a very high implementation rate. Jay would consult with somebody and give them 1 or 2 ideas, and they'd go make an extra 3 or 4 or 500,000 or 3 or 4 million. And it's like, well, if they're only implementing 1 or 2 or 3% of what Jay's teaching, what would happen if we could get them to really implement? So we were getting like 60 and 70% implementation levels, which is a whole other story. But I through my networking, I kept my elevator speech was I help businesses that are doing 2 or 3 or 400K a year that want to go to 1 or 2 or 3 million a year. And I kept running into people that say, Joe, I don't make that kind of money. As a matter of fact, I don't have my own business. I only make like 20K a year, 30K a year. And I have a job, and I want to learn this entrepreneur stuff, but nobody's teaching it. And that was the seed that started me to create the Employee Escape Plan. It's just a recognition that millions of people are employer reliant instead of self-reliant. Millions of people are driving every day to a job they don't want to go to, and they're praying for somebody to teach them the real entrepreneur stuff. Unfortunately, a lot of the people that teach entrepreneur stuff are teaching you how to sell multi-level vitamins or sell our specific program. And entrepreneurship is about taking your talents and using those to solve problems in the world and getting compensated for it. So working with business owners and recognizing that there's a lot of non-business owners that recognized a need, so that was the birthing of Employee Escape Plan. Now that has taken one more evolution. If you're escaping from the job you don't love, you need to, what are you moving towards? And that's my masterpiece, is this thing called the Business Happiness Blueprint, which is about, instead of being in a career by default, let's be in a business by design, where you actually wake up every day saying, I do what I love for myself and my clients. I share the love through my service and good marketing, and I receive the love through gratitude and cash. And the piece that's missing for a lot of people is like, are you even in the right business in the first place? And so that's where I excel, where other people don't even touch it, is helping people sit down and figure out what's the right business for you. We got to build a business around you and your personality, because too many people are copying somebody else's program. And the problem with that is it's kind of like, building your business based on somebody else's personality is kind of like wearing someone else's underwear. Might be a little kinky at first, but after a while it gets weird. So my whole thing is, let's not build your business on somebody else's stuff. Let's figure out what's the right fit for you.
And look, it's interesting that you say that, because obviously you hear so many different ideas. So ideas are plentiful, but to really have a strategy to find out who you are and how you would be in business is pretty darn cool. So help us understand, it takes me down a little bit of a rabbit hole that I'd love to go into. So what is that initial conversation like for you? I call it in my business, in the financial world, a discovery call, right? A financial needs analysis for either businesses or personal. What does it look like for you, so people understand how you do that?
Okay. First of all, it's I need to kind of sort out where they're at. One of the things you'll hear me say a lot is it's malpractice to give a prescription without a proper diagnosis first. So I may be talking to somebody that's been in business 3 years. Maybe they're making 500K a year, but I might also be talking to somebody who's not in business at all. So my first question is are you in business already? Or are you in business already, or would you like to start one? Like, let's sort out where you're at. Okay. And if they're not in business, then it's like, do you want to be in business? And they say, I want to be in business. Okay. Do you know what direction you want to go? Or are you still trying to figure out what business you're going to create? Or if they're in business already, I might ask, okay, well, what's working, what's not? I think that's really good to get those broad brushstrokes about what's working and what's not. From a marketing point of view, it's like, okay, attract, convert, deliver. Everybody's good at delivery. The dentist, I won't say everybody, but the dentist is good at dentistry, but they're not a marketer of dentistry or a salesperson of dentistry. The auto mechanic is good at turning the wrench, but are they a marketer of auto mechanics, and can they sell auto mechanics? And so attract, convert, deliver, and scale. So what's your problem? What area, like if what's the bottleneck or the constraint? Do you need more help generating leads? Do you need more help or generating quality leads? Do you need help closing sales? Or do you need to deliver in a more systematic way or in a way that you can scale? And so I want to triage and figure out, like, where are they at? So in my discovery process, I kind of have two processes, a pre-discovery and then the discovery process. But once I know what somebody wants, I'm going to ask 3 questions, and it's real easy: smiley face, neutral face, sad face. What do you want? What do you really, really want? Why do you want it? What is it that you want to create? Give me a vision of success 3 years in the future. What does it look like? Because I can't help somebody be successful until we have a picture of what success looks like. And then, I want to take it deep. I want to create a lot of emotional currency. I think the most important part of the enrollment process is people don't buy logically, they buy emotionally, but it does need to be backed up by the logic. So I want to get people excited again. I think what happens for a lot of people is they get disconnected from their sense of possibility. They're so mired in their frustrations that, like a bigger possibility is not even on their radar. And so part of my job is to help them reconnect that more is possible than your current situation. So what do you want? What do you really want? And let's take it. What else do you want? What else do you want? Because I want to, if you don't have good reasons why, it doesn't make sense. What do you want and why do you want it? And then I'll take it a little deeper. If you had it just the way you wanted, what would that do for you? And what would be the best part about that? So I want to create a lot of emotion about their positive direction. Then the next piece is tell me about your current reality. If things continue their current way without changing anything, we'll think, how will that affect you or impact you? Will they grow? Is it flat, or is it in the decline? Because all progress begins by telling the truth. You look in the garden, you see all the rocks and everything looks good, but if you pick up the rocks, there's little worms underneath. So let's look at the worms. Tell me about your current reality and what's working and not working there. And then finally, we go into a transition of what's holding you back. What are your roadblocks? What are your obstacles? What's slowing you down? What's getting in the way? What's stopping you? And there's kind of 5 areas. Are you clear about what you want and how to get there? Number 2 is, do you have the strategies and tactics? That could be a roadblock or obstacle if you don't. Number 3 is the skills. Are there skills you need to develop? Number 4 is environment. And environment's 3 parts. There's the physical environment. Do you have loving people in your environment? And number 3 is the ideas in your environment. Are you surrounded by bright, genius people that elevate your thinking? Or you can have loving people in your environment that lack the expertise. Mm-hmm. And one of my sayings that's original is, we are tattooed in our cradles with the beliefs of our tribe. And so if your tribe doesn't support where you want to go, you need to tribe hop and learn from somebody that can give you what your tribe can't provide for you. And then the 5th common obstacle is just the psychological, the mindset stuff, the psychological barriers. And, you can't help somebody, You can't help somebody solve their problem until they first admit to their problem. So in my enrollment process, I always ask, is it okay if I ask you a tough question? Here's the tough question. Everybody does something to sabotage their success. What do you do? And so that is the part where they can't blame anyone anymore. They have to look in the mirror with strict eyes and be honest. And so that's a big part of the enrollment process, is smiley face, neutral face, sad face. Let's get some emotional currency going on about what do you want, where are you at, what's holding you back. And that creates a gap of emotional tension. Think of it like a slingshot, with the rubber band. So when you have what do you want and where are you at, there's a tension because there's always a gap between what do you want and where are you at. And then when you start pulling in the roadblocks and obstacles, it's like pulling back that rubber band, and that creates a lot of emotional tension. And also what's really cool about the process is it's really honest, it's straightforward. There's no trick questions or manipulation going on. We're getting people to actually face their issues. How long has it been since somebody actually sat down with you and said, what's your dream? Where are you at? And what's holding you back? Now we can work with something.
That's incredible, man. What a great process and discovery of, like you said, that pre and post the actual conversation. So tell us a little bit about how do you then start to structure a what's called a billing method, right? What were some ways that you started to think, okay,
how do we turn that into money?
What's that?
How do we turn that into money?
Exactly. I mean, this is the Go for CEO channel. We talk about money. So what do you do then after that post conversation? Is it right after?
No, we do the conversation on the call. So after we get the emotional stuff going on, okay, I check in what's been most valuable about our conversation up till now. It's really important to ratify that just putting all your cards on the table is valuable. Okay. And then now we move into the offer, and where most people make a mistake is they blurt out, they vomit their offer onto they go fast. And what you need to do now is just really slow it down to speed it up. Okay, you got to slow it down. So now you get to, okay, I've been listening to you. So there's 6 components of the offer. The first one is demonstration that I understand your problems. John, I was talking to you. It seems to me there's 3 things. Number 1, you're not even clear about the right business. You have an idea and that's holding you back. Number 2 is you don't have an offer that's really solid that's going to get people to buy from you. And number 3, you don't have a way to really generate leads and close the sale. Does this make sense? Are you comfortable with what I'm saying? Where do you think we should go from here? So I want to demonstrate that I understand their problem better than they do. Okay, if I can demonstrate that I understand your problem better than you do, you're going to unconsciously go, this guy gets my problem, which means he probably gets the solution. The second piece in your offer is the prescription. There's a difference between giving a solution and a prescription. A solution is, I'm having chest pains. It's like they reel you in, I'm having chest pains in the emergency room. They say, go give this guy surgery. Okay, that's a solution. You fixed his heart, but you didn't get paid. A prescription is, you're having a heart problem, you need surgery. Before we send you into, that your prescriptions, you need the surgery, you need to sign these papers so we can get paid. So you want to give a prescription and not a solution. Solution fixes the problem. They don't need you anymore. Prescription is, here's what you need and we'll solve that. I will solve your problems and you will pay me generously and gratefully. So here's the prescription, but we don't go further until there's an action on the prescription. So it seems to me, John, you need to get clear on your business. You need to get clear on your offer. You need to get clear on your lead generation. And you need to really get good at sales so you can start making the money you want. Does that make sense? So I want you to verify that, yes, I understand your problem. And yes, my prescription makes sense. The third part of the offer is the promise. Well, I work with people exactly like you that are trying to build a better business. And I help my clients get more customers to pay them more money more often by using better marketing, better sales, better business models, etc. Does that make sense? Are you comfortable with what I'm saying? So we slow it down. We put these questions in between to slow it down, to let them process. Oh, wow, he gets my problem. His prescription makes sense. He's making a clear promise. Then the fourth piece is I have a model, I have a structure, I have a roadmap. First, you draw a little Venn diagram. You show this is exactly my logical process to get you from here to there. Does my model make sense? Are you comfortable with it? Okay, do you want to hear more? And then we move into the fifth pace. Logistically, here's how it works. We do coaching calls once a week, one-on-one, or we do coaching calls once a week in a group. I'll give you assignments. We'll cover exactly what you need on each call, and then there's going to be action items. But logistically, here's how I'm going to support you for the next 6 months. Does that make sense? Are you comfortable? So I'm laying out, I understand their problem. I give them a prescription. I have a promise. I have a model and logistics that make sense. So then there's only one more piece left, and that's the money part. Okay. So then this is something I do that's super powerful. I say, other than the money, do you want my help? Let's separate the money from the value. I want to ratify that they want my help separate from the money. If they say yes, then it's like, so then the only other thing left to figure out is how we can make the money thing work. And so then, here's my offer. I work, my one-on-one program is 6 months for 10K with a guarantee you'll make your money back and double it. And if you don't, I keep working with you until you do. Because of this guarantee, I have 100% success rate. And so we can do 10K, or we could break it into monthly payments. But does my pricing make sense? Are you comfortable with what I'm saying? Where do you think we should go from here? And then I shut up.
Well, you went through marketing, sales marketing, right? Kind of the combination of two, and then obviously the process that you use. So Go for CEO community, I think the last 5 minutes has just been golden. Really understanding, if you want to get into the type of space that Joe Nicasio's in, I mean, he just basically laid it out of how you bring on someone, how you discover what their needs are, and how you get to a point, if it is truly a passion, which I would probably go to Joe first to find out if you'd be good at this business or want to be in this type of business. But what a cool description of really what you do to kind of bring someone from A to Z. So let's talk about, when you started building your business and started getting client after client after client, using some of the referral marketings that you talked about, even off camera, we talked about some referral marketings and stuff like that. So what is it that you started seeing as a pattern for the business that you were building as far as just consistency? How did you make sure that you started to be able to really grow your clientele, consistently time after time?
So I was with one of my coaches, and he was giving a presentation, and he told this story about a village that needed water. Once upon a time, there was a village that needed water. And so there were two entrepreneurs. The first guy got 2 barrels and a pole, and he would go down and walk a mile to the lake and dip the barrels into the water and then bring them back to the village. And the village would pay for the water because the village needed water. And he would do this all day, every day. And he was making money, but he was always exhausted. And on the other side of the village was another entrepreneur. And he said, the village needs water, and they're willing to pay for it, obviously, because they're paying this other guy. But man, the way he's doing it, all that manual labor, it's like, I don't mind working hard, but I want to work hard once. And so he got together an architect and an engineer and a contractor, and they started making a pipeline. And they did not make money right away. It took them a year to make the pipeline. But once the pipeline was done, they opened the valves, and they had a system and a process, and they were able to make money, and they were indefatigable. They were never fatigued. Okay. And one of the big ahas I had, it's like, holy crap, I'm helping everybody else build their pipeline, but in my own business, I'm the water bearer. And so it really was a wake-up call. Like, I got to not only help my clients create their systems, but I got to make them for myself. And that was a big wake-up. bing, it's like, holy cow, I've been helping everybody else do this stuff, but I got to really do it for myself.
What a genius, right? Oh, well, I mean, within helping someone, you tend to discover many things about yourself and what you are also reflecting on to be able to grow from there. So pretty awesome stuff. So you've talked about sales, we've talked about marketing, we've talked a little bit about that process of how you started to generate real good business and consistency. So tell me about scaling. What does it look like to you? Obviously, you have this business where it's your brand, what you've done. I know that you have the online of employee escape plan, and you have the other masterpiece online as well. Can you tell us about those two systems and how do those work as far as evergreen? Are they subscriptions? How do you build that up?
Yeah, part of the challenge I have is like, I work with human beings, and when I help people like choose the right business for you, every person is different. So I feel it's very difficult to scale that piece. I am building out modules for that. But in general, for people to scale a business, you need to make sure your business is scalable in the first place. Businesses are not accidentally scalable, they're scalable by design. So for example, for me, one-on-one coaching is not scalable because there's only 40 out, there's only so many hours in a week. There's only so much Joe to go around, right? And so one of the things I've really been promoting for myself is, group coaching is scalable. One-on-one coaching isn't. So first thing is you need to, attract, convert, deliver. You need to scale. You need to make sure you design your deliverables to be scalable. You need to make sure that you design your marketing to be scalable. You need to design your sales process to be scalable. So before you can scale, you have to be designed to be scalable. Mm-hmm. A lot of people say, well, gosh, I just need a sales force. Okay, well, do you have a system, or do you need a sales force to generate leads? Do you need a sales force to close sales? Do you need a sales force for customer service post-sale? Those are three different jobs. If you're going to bring in salespeople to close sales, do you have a lead generation system in place? Like if you don't have a scalable lead generation system in place, then these guys they're not going to be salespeople, they're going to be prospectors, and it's going to really slow them down. So, and do you have, if you're going to bring in salespeople, do you have the sales process and systems in place? One of the mistakes people make in their business is they build their business around people. Mm-hmm. They look for the smartest people, and there's nothing wrong with that, except for if you build your business, you hire a genius sales manager and they leave, now you're in trouble. And what you want to do is not, it's great to have great people. It's great to have good people that have good in their hearts. But even more important is you need to have good systems so that if you have a sales management system and your sales manager leaves, then you bring in a new sales manager, you plug them into the system. McDonald's does not make consistent hamburgers by hiring hamburger geniuses or cordon bleu chefs. They hire teenage kids. So what they've done is instead of hiring superior people, they have superior systems and processes so ordinary people can get consistent results. And so if you want to scale, you need to start looking, what are your processes? What are your systems? So that you don't build your business around people, you build your business around systems and processes, and then you plug good people into the systems and processes.
So then tell us a little bit about how the employee escape plan works. Is it just a lead generation system for you? Do you use it as a funneling tool? What is it for you? And then the other awesome, thing you created.
Yeah, it's morphed. Okay. So employee escape plan started off as you want to leave your job, then I'm going to coach you to create that business. Employee escape plan now is really this marriage of that with the business happiness blueprint. So employee escape plan now is just about creating that, even the poorest person can have a superior plan or a superior blueprint. So while you still have that job, let's figure out what business are you going to go into. Let's create that plan so that you can have an exit strategy so that you can stop working for the man and be the man. Okay. So now that we know, it's morphed. So now a business happiness blueprint so the employee escape plan is really the blueprint part of figuring out what business to be in and where you're going to go with it. And then business happiness blueprint is the part where we actually build it out week after week. We just hammer away at building your business. Business happiness blueprint is 1 year of support in a group for basically $3,000 for a year, $300 a month. And so what was the question? Did I answer the question?
No, yeah. I mean, just how you're using those two platforms and what it means to you. Is it more of a funnel and stuff like that? So yeah, you're definitely sharing kind of what it's done for you and how it's integrated into Joe Nicasio Business Consulting. So
yeah, so what I'm doing now is I have a free lead generation. I've got a manual called the Quit Your Job Manual. You can download it for free. And then that brings you into my ecosystem. And now that you're in my ecosystem, you downloaded the book, we take you to a thank you page. The next step, I got to create a new video for this, but okay, now you want to quit your job. What business are you going to create? So I've created some one-on-one business coaching. It's 4 one-on-one sessions to help you choose your business wisely. And that's the employee escape plan. And it's 4 one-on-one sessions with me. Okay. And that's normally like 5 sessions with me is $2,000, but I do it for $1,000 to help people get that start and figure out, what direction should I go? You don't need a motivator to say run faster. You need to stop and make sure you get your compass pointed in the right direction. Okay. So employee escape plan is 4 one-on-one sessions with me to choose your business wisely. Once you know a business you're in, then we can actually help you roll up the sleeves and build the business. Does that make sense?
No, yeah, I love it. I think it's really, and trying to make sure how you go from that A to Z discovery to also then using these particular tools that you've developed. I've got some things on my mind that we'll talk off camera of maybe some evergreen ways to really position that, right? So really, really cool stuff. Thank you so much for sharing that. As we come to an end of all of our interviews, we talk a lot about the CEO method, right? So it's client experience, employee engagement, and operational excellence. And we can kind of diversify within that. But what would you say, Joe Nicasio Business Consulting, when you think about the pure client experience, how is it differentiating for you?
I met a girl one time at a seminar, and she was an actress. She was pretty. She had her demo reel, and she was going on lots of auditions and not getting a lot of gigs. She was in the Screen Actors Guild, and it was a landmark thing, not book learning or, it was experiential. And she realized that she was going on to these auditions to get the gig and make money to pay for her rent or for her car payment or whatever. But during this seminar, she reinvented a new possibility to show up to the audition as a massive contribution to the audition, a massive contribution to the director, and a massive contribution to the success of the project. And what happened is during that 10 weeks, she got a TV commercial, another TV commercial, a Netflix gig, and another TV commercial. I'm like, wow, this is working for her. And I adopted. So from a client experience, my job is to show up as a massive contribution to the clients I serve. Even you see me in Clubhouse, I don't hold back. I mean, I pour it on because that's my way of being now. Why, and if you're getting this in a 3, you're on Clubhouse, you ask a question and I get a chance to share for 2 or 3 minutes, I'm going to pour on the fire, because it's like, if you got that much value in 2 or 3 minutes, imagine working with me for a year or 6 months. So client experience is, I charge a lot of money, but I also help solve the real problems of my client. And when my clients talk about me, they're not going to say, oh, Joe holds back. It's like, holy cow, Joe pours it on and he's changed my freaking life. That's my job from the CEO point of view, is to make sure that I'm not here to just sell a service. I'm here to be a massive contribution. I'm going to change your freaking life. I don't, it's not about the money for me. I'm an agent of transformation. I love changing lives. I get these calls. It's like, Joe, I just made the first sale in my life. I just made the first sale in the business you helped me start. And the best call is, Joe, I'm making enough money in the business you helped me start. I can quit my job now and go full time.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that's awesome. Client experience.
Hell yeah. I mean, that's a really cool experience, So look, when we talk about employee engagement, I always ask my guests, hey, look, even if it's a solopreneur venture, it's something that really relies on you and your talent, and maybe you haven't scaled it to employees. There's always people that you have to work with, right? Vendors, people that you work with by, maybe you need a videographer or whatever. But why do people then, if we take it from an engagement standpoint, why do people love to work with you as just even a partnership, a joint venture, an engagement? What is some of the secrets of why people work with you?
Well, again, I think I changed lives. I am a solopreneur. I do, I have some virtual assistants that I use once in a while. I think that there, number one is acknowledgement. Acknowledge people for doing a good job. Acknowledge people that I appreciate you. Gratitude. Acknowledgement is huge. People can, I hire you to do some work, you do the work, I pay you money, okay, that's all fine and dandy, but no, I really appreciate that you did this. And, because you've done good by me, then when the next project comes up, you're going to be the first person on my list because, you came through for me, and then the other part is just in terms of communication, it's good leaders use clear next steps and by when. Clear next steps and by when. So what are your clear next steps by when? And then there's my part. I understand these are the clear next steps I need to take, and here's when I'll have them done. Because CEOs, we don't have time to be wondering. We don't have, what is the next step? I don't know. When's it going to be done? I don't know. Who's got time to be wondering? But if I'm clear about what I'm doing and you're clear about what you're doing, and I understand by when and you understand by when, now there's no room for misunderstanding. And I think that helps the engagement. When you've got clear when the communication is clear, the execution is going to be handled a lot better.
No doubt. No doubt. I love it. I love it. Which that plays right into really operational excellence. When you think about your business and what you've been able to create over the last 5-10 years, and how you've transformed this niche in the industry of what you do, what do you think are maybe one or two things that you could share about operational excellence? Calendars that you use, tools that really kind of keep you focused. You're in Hawaii right now, but you still are obviously helping your clients. What do you do operationally?
Yeah, I think the first thing to recognize is when you start a business, by definition, there are no operational systems. There are no marketing systems. And so if you want great systems, you got to create them or tap into them like other resources. But, when you're in a business, hopefully by design and not a business by default. And so you need to sit down and say, what are the operational systems that I need? And then you need to build them out, and you need to build them out. I think one of the mistakes, I see this mistake so much, it's people create complex systems, and then that is a path to failure. Simplicity is sanity. Simplicity is godly. Complexity is chaos, and complexity is the devil. So if you want to have this operational excellence, it's going to be from having systems excellence and this idea of like minimum viable operations, it's so easy to, we want to major in major things. And I think what happens for a lot of companies is I coach and mentor and consult with people is I look at their systems. It's like, you're making it like 100 times harder than it needs to be. And so simplify, simplify, simplify. Porsche many years ago had an ad. If you want to go faster, build in lightness.
Huh. That's pretty deep. I like that one. So
Yeah.
Porsche the car. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. And if you want to have a business that goes faster, it's going to be streamlining and simplifying and not overcomplicating. It's like I listen to all these. Sometimes there on Clubhouse, there are some bright people, but there's also some people that make me, it's like I hear what they're saying that makes me cringe. It's cringeworthy. And they talk about like, well, if you want to succeed, you need to have this morning ritual. Like you need to go jog a marathon, and you need to make sure you take an ice bath, and you need to like do an hour of meditation, and it's like, so now they're doing these rituals and they haven't done one thing to go out and get a client,
Yeah. Yeah, they're not prospecting, they're not doing the actual work that it takes to generate revenue, right? So, well, that's awesome stuff, brother, man. Thank you so much, obviously, for coming on the Go for CEO channel. One of the things that we'd love to do is just kind of see the evolution, right? Obviously, the two platforms that you have, the Joe, Nicasio Business Consulting. Over the next 6 to 12 months, we'd love to have you back on, because ultimately what we're trying to build on Go for CEO is that people will be supremely attracted to your message, become a tribe of Joe Nicasio Business Consulting, and really start following you through our platform. And hopefully it either becomes something they come and do business with you, or they just really are inspired by what you're doing. So what's one or two ways that people can get a hold of you, and ways that they can really connect with you, either social media or live directly?
Yeah, so the first is I have a community of entrepreneurs and pre-entrepreneurs who want to build a better business. And it's a Facebook group. But if you just go to businessincubatorcommunity.com, it will forward you into the group, and you can just apply to be a member of the group. And that's a great way to get into my ecosystem, and I add value in that group. It's a free group for people that are not quite yet my customers, but people that are not ready to hire me still need help, and they still need value. So that community is a place for that. And the other thing is if you want to actually talk to me directly, I set up a schedule page, schedule.employeeescapeplan.com, and let me buy you an hour of my time. Let's get to know each other and see if I can help you. If I can't, it's not going to be, it'll be a lot of value. It's not going to be a hard sales pitch. Usually when we talk for an hour, I learn a lot about you. I give you some real value. And then I usually give a soft offer. If you'd like to continue further, here's a way we could work together. But I just think that everybody needs help. Like, let's have that first hour conversation and see if I can pour some value into you. At least whether or not you can afford a coach, let me at least give you some value and at least give you some direction, so that number one, we can identify where you want to go. We can identify maybe some of the challenges you need to overcome. And by the time you're through with that call, you're going to be kind of excited because you have a clear direction of at least knowing what your next steps are, whether with or without having me as your coach. So
I love it. I love it. Well, look, Joe, you've really been super, super insightful. You've shared really some great nuggets in your industry, and a lot of people that, keep it close to the vest. Like you said, you just pour it all out. You know that if in 15, 20 minutes, or 2 minutes on Clubhouse, or 35 minutes on Go for CEO, you're really sharing the depth, because if you could do it here, you'll do it for them for that year course, for that 6-month course, for the things that you really do to really get in depth with your clients. So thank you so much for coming on the Go for CEO channel. Any final words?
no, I just want to do gratitude for you, John. You're very bright. I think that if you need business funny, if you need funny money, if you need business money, if you need financing, John Andrade is your guy. And I just wanted to thank you for having this forum to help other CEOs with what I do. And obviously, CEOs can benefit from what you do too. And so we're two men out in the world to make that massive contribution. I'm here to change lives, and I know you are too. And so I just want to thank you for the work that you're doing.
Thank you so much. Well, hey, I'm John the Bomb. Building others means business, and that's what I believe in. This is the Go for CEO community. By the way, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and leave a comment for Joe. I want him to be able to be interactive with you as we go on YouTube and on our podcast with iTunes and Spotify. We're all over the place. So exciting to have him on. Joe, we'll have you on the next 6 to 12 months and find out what are your next steps that you've been up to. So thank you so much for coming on to the Go for CEO channel.